Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. That time we woke up in a podcast and had to explain manga, our heated adventures, overanalyzing manga that we find interesting. My name is Sam, and this week we read Windbreaker by Satoru Nii, chapters 1 through 16. I understand that this is a high school sort of gang fight manga, so looking forward to some gritty violence and angst. I'm sure we'll have a great time. Enjoy the show. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam, and as always, here at the top of the show, we talk about our familiarity with the franchise that we read this week. This one's a new one for me. I hadn't heard of it. I thought it was a fart joke at one point, and I was quickly proven wrong. Either way, fresh read for me. Matt, how about you?
Yeah, no, this was a recommendation from a listener, so I went in completely blind.
Jay, how about you?
So I don't know who recommended this, but please and thank you. And I had not heard of this, but thank you, whoever you are.
And Jacob.
I usually would prefer to wear a hoodie over a windbreaker, but the manga, never heard of it.
Anyway.
Do they even wear windbreakers in this?
No,
they do not.
They do not, because
they are the
comes
windbreaker.
Yes, it comes from a phrase. It's
that's so much worse.
It doesn't mean that either. Like, pull out. They explain it.
This is very much the case where that joke could never be made to the Japanese audience, but because we're the English speakers, we're going to abuse the hell out of it.
Anyway, we open up with a declaration by the as of yet mysterious gang that runs this town. Anyone who passes this point that causes pain, brings destruction, or holds evil in their heart will be purged by Bofurin without exception. With that in mind, we are introduced to our main character, the most main character.
He is the most main character that ever main charactered ever.
I gotta say, I really love this first chapter because I got about halfway through reading initially going like, I am hating this. Because this was the most generic protagonist who has ever existed.
This is a fanfiction OC.
Like, he's literally, I'm the edgiest edgelord who's ever lived, but I'm gonna go become king of the delinquents at Delinquent High School in Delinquent Town. Also, I have heterochromia, which is my personality.
He's also got two colored hair, apparently naturally.
I'm just saying, this is literally a pro tag that was made by Tumblr.
I don't
who you are.
I don't know if I've subjected the podcast listeners to my heterochromia rant, but it's essentially just if your character design relies on heterochromia or dual colored hair, you've made a bad character.
And this one has both.
But I love it because about halfway through, you realize, oh, wait. Sakura just thinks he's in an edgy gangster manga. He's actually surrounded by very well-adjusted people. And he's just like, no, I want to be an edgelord. And they're like, you're such a good boy. Good job. He's like, everyone
hates head pat and gift.
No one will ever understand me. I'll always be alone. Nope, not going to let you have a character arc because we already accept you. Good job.
It's literally the "Hey man, how's it going?" meme.
They all hated me. Hey Sakura, you want to hang out after school?
Oh, yeah, the manga is pretty overtly in on the joke really early on.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, and I'm not mad.
We'll talk about the second half of our reading where I begin to doubt that's what it's doing, but that's later on.
Yes, right now we need to be introduced to the fact that Sakura is totally not a hero, guys. He didn't save that girl from the creepy guys because he's a good guy or anything. It was just
that he wanted to beat people up.
Yeah, I'm a violent weirdo, and you should stay away.
Okay, so the his personality as heterochromia joke is kind of accurate, but his actual personality, like his people person personality, isn't a people. He's a cat. He's literally just a cat.
I hate you. I'm gonna claw you. Stay away. No, stop petting me.
Behave. Behave, Sam.
The nice lady feeds him, and suddenly he's totally fine with her and is willing to engage her in conversation.
Yes, this nice, mature lady who runs a cafe.
That won't come up as something weird later.
Yeah, Kotaha Tachibana, the most 25-looking 16-year-old I think manga's ever given us.
I mean, they discuss this.
I've never seen it go in this direction. I'm going to be completely honest.
This was new to me, and I do not know if this like has awakened like a seventh sense here, and I'm just like, oh gosh.
You're able to sense that this is, why did you do that, mangaka?
This 16-year-old, she was so mature.
Well, but she's actually mature is the problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. She doesn't just look like she's 25. She acts like a healthy 25-year-old.
She's running a business and doing taxes. Like,
Yes.
She sees this young boy full of angst, and
you need a big sister figure.
Thankfully, I'm here.
But then she also gets held at knife point immediately after because this is the worst town ever.
It's surrounded by the worst town ever because this particular part of town is, the sign from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. It is under the protection of Bofurin. We have more of Landon on thick about how he's totally not a good guy, you guys. He's definitely a violent weirdo, and that's why he gave that old man the package that he forgot at his table in the cafe.
It lays it on so thick, man.
He also gets the very like classic shonen speech of like, you'll never understand what it's like to become king of the hoodlums because you're alone. What does that even? That seems completely unrelated to what I just said. You'll understand in a second. Spoiler alert: he doesn't understand at any point.
No. But the important part is he storms out of the cafe. He's like, oh no, I don't need emotional growth. I just need to be strong. The hoodlums have returned and are hoodlumming all over the place, committing much vandalism.
All of the terror, much terror.
This town seems to work by video game logic, whereas if you just like leave an area and come back in,
it respawns enemies. Yeah,
a new random encounter has spawned. So, despite the fact we find out later this gang runs a pretty tight ship of their turf, there's still constantly people challenging them.
Except this one is Shadow of Mordor rules, because the guy whose ass Sakura kicked earlier is now back with a vengeance and is going to challenge him again.
We also get the great line where Sakura is called out for wearing his school uniform the day before school starts.
Yeah.
And you don't even acknowledge that when you're reading because you're like, yeah, he's a manga protagonist. They're not going to bother showing him in a different outfit. Like, that's just what he wears all the time.
No.
Yet the manga has a preoccupation with everybody's casual clothes because of a certain character we'll get to in a bit.
No, he's just really, really excited to join Furin, but he's too much of a cool guy to admit it. We get a bit of a fight scene, and this is both one of my praises for the manga and one of my critiques, because when it does the fight scenes and it actually just kind of lets them breathe, they're pretty decent fight scenes. Very dynamic, good action panels, great facial expressions. Sakura is like, talk about him being a cat. He's got like bare saber teeth as he's going in on this guy. I do think the manga engages a bit too much in the trope of, you really messed with the wrong guy. One panel later, all the dudes are dropped. Whoa, he's so strong.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of go off what you're saying, Sam. I feel like the art is really good for the action scenes. I just feel like there's a complete lack of choreography in a lot of it.
Yeah.
They're really cool action panels, but then when you try and string them together into like a fight, it's just not really anything.
Yeah. It's just a storyboard of punches.
It's almost like the main goal of this manga was to show really cool, hot, attractive action poses for main characters, probably even dozens of main characters. And the fact that they needed to be fights was just secondary.
Look, those shirts fly up at a moment's notice.
I'm saying the fact that the cast list like literally quadruples in chapter 1. I think I know the direction this is going.
Yep.
How many different quirky guys can we shove into this?
Yes.
We can get another 6 going right now, as Matt alluded to earlier. Kotaha is held at knife point by the violent thugs, and despite the fact that he's like, I'm just a fight goblin. Why am I defending this woman? Now I'm gonna get walloped. But suddenly, reinforcements!
And the reinforcements are Furin.
Are even more quirky dudes.
Well, yeah, it's when we finally get like the full reveal that Furin, despite the fact they are the king of delinquents in this gangster paradise, are actually super chill people who are just like Sentai heroes, essentially. And just completely destroys the edgy anti-hero vibe Sakura wants.
Like the bit that they always do is, here is punk character, and Sakura is like anticipating, yes, this is my kind of, oh, it turns out they're actually really well adjusted. Anyway, here's a quirky scene with them.
Hey man, how's it going?
Oh no. And it's his like internal monologue is like, well, I'm gonna have to beat up all of these guys. And it's just like, oh no, you don't. We can solve this by being friends.
Yep.
What?
And I will say, despite the fact that it does this joke basically every time, it contextualizes it in enough ways that at the very least, over the course of our reading, it didn't get stale for me. It worked for its shtick.
I also just did enjoy as this big Yakuza brawl breaks out between 5 dudes and their 20 opponents. The 5 dudes winning the fight. All of the townsfolk are leaning out their windows like, yeah, get them!
Get them, boys!
Kick their asses!
I will give this manga credit. It really does the like, I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me. With 5 separate characters. And like,
Yep.
just turn the panel and they have each beaten like 16 people and you're like, oh, okay. Wow. you're going to keep doing this, aren't you?
This town never runs out of people, especially young teenage boys.
It was by the end of chapter 1, I was firmly in the camp. I'm like, okay, so this is a parody manga. And then it wasn't. So I was very confused for the majority of the reading.
But yeah, as the brawl is settling down, as Furin is kicking the enemy school's asses, Kotaha explains, yeah, this place used to be a real hole of gang violence and schools going at each other's throats, but then Furin united and took back the streets and became Bofurin, the Windbreakers. Now they protect the town, and any thugs that come here get whooped.
Yeah, and by windbreakers, they mean like their wind chimes that stop the wind, I think is how the name
Yeah,
is
it's kind
supposed
of
to
like
be done.
wind being like a force, being these delinquents as a force of like violence, and they
Yes.
are stopping that.
And as we all know, wind's natural enemies is wind chimes.
Makes perfect sense.
Because like Furin means like wind chime, but then Bofurin becomes chime of the windbreaker.
I get it. It's a bunch of Japanese puns I'm not going to understand.
Yeah.
Basically. There was an explanation for it in the dialogue that I glossed over, I'm not gonna lie.
My headcanon is that their school uniform just happens to also have a windbreaker that they all wear. That their jackets are just windbreakers. That's
Yeah. Works for me. I just really like the aftermath of the fight when the townsfolk are crowding around the boys like, yeah, good job, fellas, you did it. Excellent work. I knew we could count on you. And Sakura's just like, ugh, these goody two shoes, they've been accepted here. And they do the white background crowd on one side of the panel, our hero alone on the other side. He's so isolated, everybody. And then immediate next page, townsfolk, hey, good work, kid. You're new in town, right? Man, you're gonna fit right in. Guys, did you see how cool this guy was? He was helping Konoha.
Somebody get a first aid kit for his the knife wound on his ankle.
Like, literally, Sakura is that one friend you have who made the super edgelord rogue for your D&D one-shot, but everyone else made joke characters who just get along. And they're desperately trying to play what they wrote down, and no one else is letting them.
Which ends up making their character the funniest of all.
No, I'm super serious.
Yes, you are very super serious. We take you very seriously. Why are you blushing?
He does also, though, both internally and also out loud, because edgy cat boy here acknowledge that he thinks that the way that they've basically turned themselves into superheroes is cool, and it's something that he's aspired to.
And he does that by delivering a flying kick right into the face of one of the Bofurin boys.
Or no, it was
Oh,
yeah, no, it was one of the other guys, because they had the knife again.
oh, I didn't notice
Because
that.
it has a lot of action lines, so you can't really tell which of the school uniforms it is. But one of the guys they had beaten up had got back up, picked up the knife, and was about to attack the Bofurin crew from behind, and he ends up like having the big save at the end.
Sam, I also thought it was the team captain. Don't worry.
I did too, but
he's got the bandage on the cheek.
Yeah, it was when I saw the knife that I read the panel over again, and I realized what was going on.
Yeah, that's that thing you were talking about, Matt, where it's kind of hard to tell the flow. And the problem is they really love doing the high jump kick.
Because they love extending the legs. Like, it's I know exactly what they're going for with the poses. It's just
extending the legs, having the shirt flip. Dude
I
has got
love
abs.
the shirt flip. So good.
So, dear listeners, if you haven't guessed the target demographic for this manga yet, me and Jacob aren't in it.
Again, thank you, whoever recommended this.
Anyway, we have to introduce our secondary, our sidekick, basically.
Yes, our
Kind
sidekick
of.
being very generous with that term.
I mean, I wouldn't say sidekick. It's more like you don't
They're
see
both
this.
first years.
Yeah, you don't see this in manga as much anymore, but it was like really big like 10 or 20 years ago. You've got the side character who's weak but explains what's going on. Like a Cyrus, like a Brock, a Cyrus Truesdale,
Tails.
Tails is useful on his own. It's kind of the difference.
Yeah. This dude is Sonic 1 Tails, except he's clinging to Shadow.
It's weird that my best example I have is from Yatake Japan, just because they shit on that character so often of just like, wow, you're just a terrible baker. You can't do anything right. You just sit on the sidelines doing commentary. It's just like, well, yeah. But that's kind of what this guy does.
Yeah, and he is also wacky because he is very klutzy. His whole thing is that he's very fashion forward, we'll say.
He's trendy.
Well, I love how this is only revealed in his character bio at the end of one of the chapters, is that he actually is like super into fashion, but for some reason he chose not to wear anything fashionable to school. He just wore what he thought gangsters wore, which is loud, like obnoxious patterned shirts under the school uniform.
And bling, so much bling. He's got chains. He's got chains, he's got a necklace. Hell, even his glasses are on chains. They're like kind of granny-ified by that, but you know what? He thinks he's cool.
Yeah.
And you know what? The coolest thing of all is confidence. Right, crew?
This guy does not have confidence.
I love that, like, this chapter is kind of set up like an Aesop fable. And it starts with Sakura being like, those people are always putting on airs. I've seen flashy guys like them before. When the going gets tough, they fall to pieces like dominoes. What is this metaphor? I don't know, but you get what I'm talking about.
You get what I'm talking about, right, Kodaha? No, I have a much more optimistic outlook on people. You're all so weird. I'm leaving.
Also, I'm gonna have a weird mental tangent about the fact that I have like different colored hair and eyes. Everyone thinks I'm a monster because of that. I don't think that's true at all. No, it's definitely a thing I'm gonna think, despite no one to the contrary.
Meanwhile, Nihei, that's this guy's name. He goes up and he's like, whoa, your hair. Dude, is that because of stress? You're like barely 16. Why do you have white hairs?
You poor thing.
Is your heart okay? Kodaha, I don't think you should give him coffee.
Just so caring. Everyone is so saccharine. Like,
to a comedic degree.
If the joke wasn't on Sakura, I would even be going like, okay, come on, tone this down.
Oh, and he's also got his secret book where he writes down all of the facts about the cool people.
Which that's the end chapter things, right? It's from his book, right?
Yeah. Oh, that means he draws the little paper dolls of people in their most fashionable out. That makes so much sense.
Right? Okay, good. I'm not the only one who thought that.
I was about to say, why does Sakura have like fashionable casual clothes? He explicitly says he only has the school uniform because that's all he needs to fight.
But no, it's because Nihei has to have his little gangster Pokedex.
That makes so much sense.
It's a gangster Pokedex! That's what it is!
And anyway, the whole moral that we've got going on here is don't judge a book by its cover, I guess? They definitely say that's the moral, and then it kind of falls apart. And I think that's kind of on purpose, because it's not like a Aesop manga, but like...
Well, because the thing is, the thing that Sakura had the biggest problem with and what he was particularly judging him for was the idea that he was sure he'd run away at the first sign of trouble. And he doesn't. He stands his ground even when he's getting beaten up. But he is as weak as he seems.
Yeah, but the problem is, the second part of his complaint is that people flaunt all that and can't back it up. And he definitely cannot back it up. Like,
if I wasn't... See, the thing is, I'm not 100% sure how much you're supposed to laugh at this and how earnest it is, because it treads the line. If I were to read it in the most like charitable way and like, you know, it's actually going for something a bit more serious, I would say something along the lines of it's like it's more complex than that. Like, people aren't, you know, these stereotypes, there's more to them than that. So it's like some of the aspects that Sakura assumed about him were true, but others weren't. And that's why you have to see each people individually. But also it might be a giant joke. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be taking it that seriously.
Yeah, that's kind of where I ended up with this series, was like the first half I thought was very clearly supposed to be like, oh man, I'm in a shonen manga, but actually it's like a slice of life. Mm-hmm. But then we get a tournament arc at the end.
It's actually just a tournament arc.
That seems to take itself very seriously. And I'm like, okay.
It's like Sakura walking down the street and all the shopkeepers being like, oh, hey, you're the boy from yesterday. Here, have some bread, have some apples. Here, have a pastry. Hey, kid, do you drink sake? Dad, he's
Daddy's 16.
It's literally, they all hate me. Everybody loves you unconditionally. Like,
and then the chapter ends with Nihei just doing the most ineffectual tackles on some thugs, getting his ass kicked. He's reciting the Bofurin like creed.
Because of course the random encounter respawned because you went through a warp tile.
It just reminds me like he's like chanting some kind of spell, and it's like just repeating that over and over does not protect you, man.
It does summon the protagonist though.
It gives him the fire in his heart, Jay. And like that's the thing, because they have these like dramatic close-ups of his face all bruised up, and he's screaming at, like, out his determination, even as he's like doing the weakest football tackles where he's just kind of shoving his forehead into this dude's crotch until
Don't judge.
We can't judge.
until Sakura does his signature flying jump kick move. I can't wait for him to miss that, crash into a wall, and take 50% damage.
High jump kick's got like 90% accuracy. It's fine.
And Sakura, continuing to pretend that he's not actually a hero, he's just like, wow, you guys beat up weaklings? You suck.
Let me proceed to beat you up, even though you're weak by my standards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they
Stop
started
applying
it.
logic. They started it.
Yeah.
And this is the first instance of the, whoa, dramatic zoom in on the determined face of the hero. And then next panel, all the bad guys are defeated. Whoa, he's so strong. And like, yeah, okay, we had the big brawl last chapter. We know that Sakura means business. I'd have appreciated a more drawn out fight scene, but that's okay. And then they do that like 3 more times in the next 2 chapters.
Which is why I thought it was like a comedy, because like, okay, you're skipping the fights because that's not where the meat is. And then they do a tournament arc. So I'm really not sure.
Also, this is just I'm not sure what they're going for. What's with the slit pupils? Does anyone have any ideas on that?
He's a cat.
He's a cat.
Okay, it is just that he's a cat.
He just is a cat.
Because cats have heterochromia much more often than people do, so.
Yes, the cat joke I actually think is canon because it does come up of, like a cat? You just have the eyes and like a hair pattern of a cat.
Because the two-tone hair actually does fit with them being a cat too.
Although I will say, because Sam brought it up, the fact that constantly we get like fight scenes skipped over, I thought for a second they were going to say his like white eye had some kind of Sharingan power, and that's why we weren't seeing the fights.
I swear there was like a cutaway, like, I think it was before the actual main action of one of the fights where I'm like, oh no, his protag power's activated.
Well, you see, that's why he only fights with his angel's left arms, to spare his enemies the fury of the devil's right.
Yeah, 100%. There's 14 chapters of this. And considering how far we got in our 16 chapters, if some magic nonsense doesn't start happening, like...
I was going to say,
disappointed.
I'm not 100%, like, this is actually a really good thing. It instigates me to want to read more to find out. Because it's a manga, so it could be supernatural. So it's like, are the slit pupil thing a art style choice because cat, or does he have superpowers of some kind? Because either are valid.
I could see them saying it's not supernatural. I could see them go 100% the breathing techniques are just a metaphor. Just because. Like...
It's either going to be that, or this is actually the origin story of Morgana from Persona 5.
Geez, yeah, are we at the first day of school yet?
We are about to do the first day of school, because we end chapter 2 with the dramatic wide shot of the school, the most graffitied thing of all time, with a goddamn tree growing out of the roof.
Yeah,
this school looks so stupid.
This school is a fighting game stage, like. And I you know what?
Oh my god! If they were in a video game, that would make so much sense.
No, because I'm gonna say this now, and I'm going to not talk about this anymore because I know one listener will probably be annoyed by this, but like. I don't think this can survive seriously because I don't understand how this world works, because they go to school in this like costume building unless their gang is just role playing as students, which could be what's happening because they sure as hell don't go to class.
We do not see a single adult that could pretend to be a teacher. We see the entire school seems to operate on the whims of the Bofurin gang.
All of the like equipment in the school is from like 20 years in the past. So it 100% looks like they took over an abandoned school and are just kind of running it as the theme for their gang.
And again, there is an actual freaking tree growing out of the roof. I'm not exaggerating. Like, if you want more proof that these guys are protagonists. They have a tree of life on top of their headquarters.
Ugh. That's where you respawn if you fail the level.
Mhm.
I buy it.
Ugh.
You wake up there and Umamiya is just like, whoa, they got you good, huh?
Let me give you the tutorial on how to spend your skill up points.
So anyway, they find their class assignments as like 2 sheets of paper printed on a wooden board in the front of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably the only time the joke ran a little dry on me, because this chapter is literally, it's mostly side character's name I've already forgotten.
Nihei.
Nihei, because his entire thing is like, oh no, this is the one person who might not accept Sakura for who he is because he hates out-of-towners. This could be the only chance. You need to not say you're going to become king of the delinquents. Please stop. Oh no, and he's like constantly
Sakura
typing.
flings open the door, walks in. Hi, I'm Sakura. I'm going to become king of the delinquents.
Oh no, you said the thing. And then everyone's just like, oh, he's going to become king of the delinquents? That's cool.
We like there's like 3 different characters that like look like they're about to be the threat that Nihei's so worried about. Walk up, well, you sure are ambitious. Good to meet you. Anyway, and they do that like 3 times.
Oh no, that's one of the most serious and well-threatening members of Furin. And then he's just like, hey, this eye patch is keeping a demon sealed inside my body. JK. Oh, I guess he just tells bad jokes?
What?
He introduces himself as Leonardo DiCaprio, which one of the funniest jokes was in this where Sakura's, you're from overseas?
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
yeah. I mean, his character design also kind of like, I guess, a little bit.
He's a Chinese pirate.
He's a Chinese pirate.
But he's Japanese, so...
Yes, he's like, no, I am Japanese, but...
That's in the bio at the end of one of the chapters where it's like he just like he's not Chinese, he just likes Chinese fashion.
He just appropriates Chinese culture.
His secret is he does speak another language other than Japanese. I wonder what it could be.
Turns out it's French.
Yes, my boy Eye Patch McGee, otherwise known as Suo.
Of course, I learned French because I love Titanic so much.
I'm just saying, my man.
Did you watch the French dub of Titanic?
Yes. It made the paint me like one of your French girls fall kind of flat, but...
Also, the obnoxious accents during the sex scene in the car was really, really a turn up. Wait.
But yeah, Suo, very, very happy-go-lucky, very calm, despite his very menacing appearance with his eye patch and long tassel earrings.
He's not menacing.
He's not menacing. What are you talking about?
The look on his face, like even when they're trying to build him up as potentially, like he can do a scary face, but like even in this part where they're trying to build him up as a threat, he still has that doofy grin.
He's just like, man, you're Sakura from that big brawl on the main street yesterday? Wow, you were so cool.
Neat.
We're all good friends here.
Yeah. So what was that thing you said about wanting to become king of the delinquents? Yeah, I'm going to become king of the delinquents. Whoa, that doesn't mean he's going to fight anybody. Yes, it means I'm going to fight somebody. I want to physically hurt many people. I'm going to fight my way all the way to the top. I'm going to go to the leader. I'm going to beat his ass in, and a chair gets thrown across the screen.
I'm just like, man, I really hope there's any amount of tension in this. And then they released the serial killer.
Look, we needed to put all the antagonist energy into one man.
and then rapidly strip it from him. We'll get to that.
We needed Bakugo if Bakugo was like madly in love with All Might.
Kiyotaro Sugishita, lanky McLong hair, very, very gay for the leader of Bofurin.
He's at least honest with his feelings.
He's like, how dare you pose any amount of threat to my leader, I'll kill you. As he breaks a desk with a single punch. Because this guy has anime strength.
And like, we have, I almost said a really cool fight scene, but actually we have really cool fight panels.
Yeah. This is probably the best example of like, there's like the last like sequence at the end is pretty good, but this is probably the best example of if you try to string them together, there are big chunks missing because it's about getting them into poses.
Especially because the main pose is like, hey, let's have Sakura's shirt right up him because he basically tables.
He does a full back bend.
Yeah, it's like, oh my.
Yeah, and into a cartwheel kick so that the shirt can go up even higher.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to that cartwheel kick, that couple of panels is actually really well done. Mm-hmm. But I mean, well, there was a particular reason that this was focused on. I wonder what it could be.
He does the cartwheel kick, and it hits Sugishita so hard that it knocks him up and his shirt up into the air.
So you can see both of their abs. Yup.
So anyway, they're going to continue fighting, but then the morning announcements come on.
With this guy.
All the more proof that Bofurin isn't actually in school and they're just cosplaying school because it's the theme of their gang.
Mm-hmm. This guy, this is the most parody that it gets in my mind, because we get the morning school announcement from the leader of Bofurin, Umamiya, and he is just the biggest goofball. Whoa, good morning, students. Hey, is this thing on?
It's so wacky. And his like main underling is trying to keep him on track, and it's not working.
Mm-hmm. And much to Sakura's surprise, everybody, including the guy he just kicked in the face, whose nose is still actively bleeding, have all frozen and are now standing at attention looking at the loudspeaker. The voice of God is speaking to us.
Hey, I hope you all are getting along with your new friends. It's the first day, so I hope we don't have any fights yet. And then he seems to speak directly to the people reacting as if he's in the room with them. It's like, that means you. And it's like, what? It's got strong, like, yeah, this is a pre-recorded message. James.
I know what you're thinking, Kyle. And he's like, yep, so anyway, we're all going to have a great time. We're going to become best friends. And the only thing that you got to do is keep our town safe. That's the one rule of Bofurin. Protect yourselves and everything that's important to you. And the entire school goes, sir, yes, sir. And I'm like, who the f*** is this guy? He can overthrow a small country with the loyalty he leads.
I love how his massive gang suffers none of the problems of a huge huge population entails of oh man, so you've got a tiered leadership. Oh no, everyone follows everyone intrinsically. Cool.
I have to suspend disbelief just because I know how prone to toxicity this would be. We get a little taste of it.
There is not a single toxic masculinity has been completely eradicated from both of them. That was goal number one. And then just, soft implied homosexual relationships for everyone.
Basically.
Yes, it is a very strong.
We are all good men who believe in honor and respect, and everybody who is higher on us on the ladder is worthy of that honor and respect. And it's really, it's very straight. We promise.
It's a very top giving to bottom relationship.
Yes, that's the only way I could describe it.
Service is what gets you to the top. You want to call him a service top?
Which actually leaves Sakura in the position of being a very ambitious power bottom, looking to make his way to the top.
It's all coming together.
That's the goal.
The thing is,
The thing is,
that's only slightly kidding. That's like the degree to which that's actually accurate is shocking.
The thing is, the gayest thing ever happens at the end of the announcement because he, again, speaking directly to the main cast, Umemiya's like, all right, now anybody who happened to be scrapping before the announcement, shake hands and make up. You're all friends now. You don't need to get along perfectly, but hey, we're comrades.
Oh my God, I forgot. Because I thought this scene was going to do the obvious joke, and then it was just weird, and I didn't understand what was going on.
As Tsukishita holds out a hand to Sakura to shake, and Sakura's like, what? You using a hand for something other than punching? Touching someone for something not related to fighting. It's strange. I didn't know how warm the human body could be.
Yeah, and like
holy
Matt's here thinking they're gonna do the obvious joke, which is they turn like shaking hands into like a power struggle of who's got the better grip strength. But no, it's just both of them being incredibly strong and holding on for way too long as Sakura has like an existential crisis about how good men feel.
Touching someone for something not related to fighting feels weird.
I didn't realize the human body could be used for things other than violence.
Please stop.
What is this?
What do you mean stop? That's what's in the manga.
It's so weird. I don't. The problem is this manga isn't explicitly gay enough for me to be like, that's where it's going with this. And I'm like, did this just accidentally become yaoi? I don't.
Accidental yaoi, my favorite. Yum.
I don't. There's one scene that throws my. If there's one scene later that if it didn't happen, I'd be like, yeah, obviously Sakura is gay. But there's one scene that confuses me. So I don't know.
They're all at the exploration stage.
Yeah, you know what? No, I'm going to apologize. I forgot bi people exist.
We accept your apology, Matt.
I don't need your apology.
I don't need your forgiveness.
I don't need Santa Claus's apology, Sam. Everyone who's not Sam, I apologize to, but
okay.
Never apologize to your friends. That's how you know they're your friends.
Anyway, it's time for the thing.
It's time for the most out-of-pocket nonsense I've seen in this manga.
Yeah, because what happens is you're like, hey, how does a school for delinquents work? It doesn't. So it's weird because I didn't notice this at first, but I had to double check. There's a time skip to the end of the day. So they go patrolling after the school day's done. So we don't know what they did in the class all day.
Oh, I didn't notice the time skip.
It's after lunch. Like, it's no longer morning. It skips to there. Like,
I legitimately thought they were just... Can you even call it playing hooky when it's the only thing you do?
Oh, because it's the 30 minutes earlier that threw me off. Because it's like... They do this weird in medias res thing of they're painting a house now just to be nice because that's this town.
And covering up the graffiti.
I mean, I guess the implication could be they've been patrolling for like 4 hours when we jump to them, but like it feels like the dialogue they're giving is they just started patrolling and it's clearly a chunk through the day. So it's a weird time skip, and I think it's just because they don't want to bother with what they would have to actually do at Thug School. Like
we're skipping every pretense. We're not even going to put Sakura in the main character's seat.
I can only imagine how coveted that seat would be in this if it were to be a school. Instead of it being the seat where the loner broods, it's like it's like a throne.
If I remember correctly, the classroom was laid out in that there were only seats around the edge of the room. Like they had all pushed their seats back into the protagonist spot.
Basically.
But yeah, they essentially have like My Hero Academia school where they get their team captain, who's the guy who stopped the fight earlier, and he also reveals that he's taking ulcer medication because the like entire onus for the plot happening shouldn't have happened in the world. So it's one of those situations. The protagonist lucked into a circumstance that never should have happened. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah, because it's Sharktooth from the street brawl yesterday to protect Kodaha. And he's like, if you ever speak about what happened yesterday in earshot of the boss, I'm gonna have an ulcer, so I really need you to keep quiet, man, please.
Yeah, this is another case where it's like it's setting up like Sakura is gonna get what he expects, and then oh no, they're actually really wholesome and well adjusted. Anyway,
I'm asking you for a favor.
Yeah, there's a lot of threats that end up being empty.
So are you going to explain why we can't talk about that? Not for like 6 more chapters. Shut up.
So yeah, they basically go patrolling around. They do They're essentially Boy Scouts, but they're wearing thug outfits. Like they're so nice. They're so wholesome.
They're Boy Scouts, but because of the respawning enemy encounter, they also have to punch people sometimes.
Yes. We learned that Sharktooth, his name's Hiragi, if we haven't mentioned that yet. He is one of the 4 kings of Bofurin, captain of this particular selection of classes.
And they're based off of the 4 divine kings, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a Buddhist thing.
Yeah,
the 4 heavenly kings of Buddhism. We get silhouettes for the other ones, and wow, quirky characters. One of them has a gas mask.
Man, I hope we use any of these at some point, maybe.
Maybe not in this reading. The important part is that, as one might expect, Sakura and Sugishita have been put into a patrol team together, and Sugishita is kind of willing to just I don't know if he's willing to let bygones be bygones, but he's like,
he's willing to shut up and get it over with.
Meanwhile, Sakura's like, no fair. He attacked me first, and I didn't even get to finish the fight. Why do you care so much about finishing the fight if he attacked first? You don't question me.
I really, really like contact with men. I mean, what?
I didn't get to finish.
You didn't get to finish. I hit him in the face once. That's not enough.
We both got worked up and we didn't get to finish. God, I'm so blue balled right now. I'm gonna fight the next hoodlum I see. Wait, why did we hit a loading zone and now there's different background music?
Yeah, because they cross a street near the going under the tracks of the subway.
All the restaurants are under these train tracks. That's the restaurant district. It's where all the restaurants are.
Hey, apparently it's nothing but pubs on the other side of the tracks, so
pubs and abandoned community theater.
But it's like, oh, what's that weird dog graffitied over the arch? What's happening over there? Oh, no, Sakura. Nihei freaking out as ever. You can't take it one step closer. That's Shishi Torin territory. Shishi who? They're the rival gang who are actually bloodthirsty maniacs. They have all the actual horrible parts of Bofurin's reputation, but it's not a bit. They do it for real.
That's amazing. You'd think Sakura would have heard of these people because they're so much more in line with what he wanted to do.
I know, right?
They're devotees of power, you say. Man, I'd really like to fight them.
We also get a great part with Sakura when he's on patrol, where he's kind of just like, yeah, so we're thugs for Furin, right? So we just go find our enemies and beat them up. And then the leader is just like, what? No, we protect people. That'd just be a raid. And I'm like, well, but if you know they're bad people, you can preempt it. Like, no, we only fight once something's already happened.
They're like Rome, only fighting defensively, except they don't stretch that definition so thin. It's a micrometer.
It's like, yes, we're the good pirates. We only steal from other pirates.
Wait, you actually hold to that code? Wait, you actually vet your targets to make sure they're actually abhorrent? What the gentleman thief thing is supposed to be a veneer. What are you doing? Hey, look at that. That middle schooler is about to get beaten up. Oh no, but he's on the enemy turf. We can't go save him. The fuck do you mean we can't go save him?
and then to start stripping away the antagonism from the only
antagonist.
From the only antagonist so far, we have Sakura and Lanky McLonghair over there, both simultaneously doing the flying jump kick to protect the middle schooler.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful coordination. They hit that guy in the nose in perfect sync.
That pull-up was clean.
And they beat this guy, like just basically one-shot him. And it's hilarious because I don't understand how Shishitorin maintains any turf with how they act. Because their executive comes, they find out that one of their guys has been attacked on their turf, and they're just like, well, that's not a problem. This person's not actually part of our gang because he lost. And I'm just like, well, no, because that's an attack on.
No, because
you're not defending your territory though if you just throw away the parts you lose.
Now, see, Matt, we need to make them more despicable. So the guy who got kicked in the face needs to sit up and be like, how dare you, Furin punks, come into our territory? And that's when the executive whacks him over the head with a bottle and says, your territory? Who the fuck are you? You lost. Also,
they're wrestling heels is what they are.
Also, the executive is quite the character. He's what Nihei would be if Nihei wasn't such a.
I'm gonna say it right now. This manga feels like it's just a manufacturing pipeline for body pillows.
Maybe.
You're not wrong.
If so, sold.
Would you get a body pillow of Joe Tagame, Jay?
No.
Which one then?
You'll have to find out.
All right. Anyway, the point being, Sakura is like, wow, dude, you're lame as hell. We already beat that guy. Now you're beating him up. You suck, bro. Oh yeah? You want to go, little man? You want to go? You want to fight right now? Yeah, I want to fight right now. Well, too bad.
Well, too bad. We need to drag this out for as long as humanly possible.
Your hair looks like an Othello board. I'm going to call you Othello-kun. Later, nerd.
Because if you thought, man, Windbreaker, it's just constantly with the jokes and just rip it apart gangster like culture. And man, it is so light and fresh. I wonder if they're going go into the logistics of a turf battle and how just setting one up is so complicated. Oh, no, they're actually going to do that. Huh.
Well, okay then.
Because they have to go report back to their boss that there was a turf infraction.
Uh-huh. And they have to bring the middle schooler that they saved from getting his ass whooped.
And the middle school is just like, I know I messed up. I was chasing after someone and I knew it was against the rules to cross the turf line, but I did it anyway because I believe in Furin so much. And I'm so sorry. I'm the worst Furin member ever. And then they meet the captain and the captain's just like, don't worry, little buddy. I forgive you implicitly for anything you've ever done wrong. And I'm like, okay, so the rules don't matter at all.
No, what matters is his garden, because that's his shtick.
Yeah, we go to the school rooftop, which is it's even stupider to actually see it. Because the tree roots are like cascading down the backside of the school, eating into the concrete, but still holding everything up.
This tree is going so far for nutrients. Like it's desperately grasping at the ground.
They've got like a couch. They've got a ping pong table, a tennis court. They've got paintings there because they're artsy.
Which I just don't know if anyone's tried to play ping pong outside. Not fun. Any amount of wind, like maybe on the roof of a building.
And then,
they're the windbreakers. Wind doesn't happen here.
Oh, you're right. They play ping pong outside in spite of the wind. This is also when we get the like weird thing where the main boss is like very chill and they're like, oh man, that completely ruined my illusion of him. Why is everyone so afraid of him? And then his aura flares up for like a second and Sakura is terrified.
Yeah, because the introduction that we get to him, this is the point where if you're not clued into what's going on, well, I'm so sorry, you're never gonna catch it because I'm reading the Umeyama, we've got trouble. Yeah, I know. He's gonna say something about the plants. We don't have enough seeds. Yep. Okay, got it. Mm-hmm. He's quirky shenanigans too.
You always gotta have a plant boy.
I'll take your word for it.
Typically, the plant boy is not the leader, but
yeah, typically you have a plant boy, or he's sometimes the guy who likes to cook. He's like has that soft side to him. He's very domestic. That's him. Yeah.
Except they're all kind of domestic is kind of the man. What if we made like threatening bad boys, but then stripped away? It's only fake threatening, like a kind of fetish. They're actually underneath the threatening outer layer. They're lovable, kind, non-threatening men.
Underneath the outer threatening layer is a bit too generous. Outer threatening plastic wrap. They're actually kind of generous.
The outer threatening windbreaker, if you would.
No, windbreakers are pretty threatening. The noise.
So anyway, in case it wasn't obvious, what happens is the other gang leader has just showed up at their headquarters, which really just says volumes about how this organization works.
Well, the boss had to spawn close enough for the protagonist to hit the quest marker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's literally like you get the message of like enemy leader has entered the battlefield, and he's calling over a megaphone. And in case you didn't get it, the leader of the Shishitoran is a like tiny little baby man.
He reminds me of a character that I don't know if you guys know. But he reminds me of very rough backstory, but character from Tokyo Ghoul.
Huh. I've not seen Tokyo Ghoul.
Yes. He's very Genki.
He reminded me of Honey Senpai from Ouran Host Club.
That too, yeah.
Like, except he's all about murder.
Yes. Tokyo Ghoul guy is very much a sadistic person.
Like, imagine if Goku was a Genki girl.
But like a kid
girl. Oh god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, kinda.
Because his whole thing is, I want to fight strong guys. Give me a strong guy to fight. Come on. I want to tussle. Let's go.
He also may want to make out with the leader of Furin. It's not super clear.
It's possible.
Making out and fighting.
Whichever comes first.
Yeah.
Whoever comes first. I mean, whichever comes first.
Look, we know Umemiya is good with his hands. He's a gardener.
Can we just go one episode without constantly talking about jizz? That'd be great. That'd really be great.
Maybe we shouldn't pick such homoerotic manga.
I didn't know this was homoerotic.
Please, listeners, only recommend homoerotic manga, please.
No, because then I'd go in knowing what it was. This just surprised me.
Please.
Oh my god.
Happy Pride Month, everybody. It's not when this is airing.
It's not Pride Month with this.
But you know what? Just in general.
Yeah.
Just in general, every month is a Pride Month of some variety.
Every month is Pride Month when you're not a coward.
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, Shoji. I think they're supposed to hint at like his bloody violence because he's got like void black eyes. Like there's no soul in there. But then he just outright says, Come on, I want to hit things. I want to fight people. Come on, fight me.
The sort of
look, I beat the shit out of all your dudes. Doesn't that make you want to fight me?
Yeah, the sort of dynamic that they're going for is their technical official leader is their official leader because he's the strongest, but he's not really a leader. It's Glasses McGee from before who is the real like power in terms of like gang politics. and is pretty much just using him, Joji, as a figurehead.
Yeah, kind of. That's definitely what they're setting up.
Yeah, like in our reading, nothing's come of it, but like they set that up pretty hard.
It's like the same level of like the world building where we're assuming the Furin are cosplaying as high schoolers and aren't actually high schoolers. We don't actually know because it's not super clear.
Yeah, it hasn't been stated one way or the other yet, but that's what it seems.
Choji he really wants to throw down with Umemiya because ever since he became the most powerful guy at Shishitorin, he's like, man, being the most powerful dude sucks. I'm like Saitama without any of the pathos. So I want to fight you because you somehow have fun despite being the toughest, and I don't like that.
I want to take you for myself, direct quote.
Okay, yeah, you can work out your angst somewhere else. Look, we don't really have a reason to fight because, yes, some of your dudes got beaten up and you beat up some of our dudes. We're basically even. Wait, why is the rest of your crew here? Wait, why is my crew backing me up when I specifically told them not to? Guy, what the hell is going on here? Nah,
yeah,
boss.
this is the part where we get the bigger moment of the aura flaring up.
We also have the moment where all of Furin shows up at the windows, every last one of them to glare down at the opposing school.
I love the guys in the third story who are just glaring out the windows like, you're not doing anything. You can't be involved in this fight at all. You're just glaring there for
the aesthetic.
Yeah.
The emotional effect.
This whole that whole panel is just aesthetic. Doesn't mean anything.
But
it's the equivalent of two characters pulling out bigger and bigger guns.
Yeah.
Do we have a problem here?
But yeah, they realize that they don't have the capacity to draw hundreds of people fighting in an epic battle. So they decide they're going to go on a group date. I mean, have a tournament arc.
Yes.
Have a group date. I mean, have a tournament arc. I mean, have a group date.
Yes,
at the theater.
They do end up going to a theater.
And it's on stage, just like true thespians.
Yeah.
Which really not the demographic I thought they were going for. Quite the opposite, actually.
But we have just enough individually designed Shishitorin characters step forward and say insulting things at the Furin boys so that everybody gets a one-on-one. We have a punk with a side cut insult Umemiya, so Sugishita wants to kill him. We have a guy who was at the original brawl, who's just kind of a coward who hides in the back and gasses up his boys. That Suo's like...
As a weird character, I don't get him. He exists to make Suo look good.
Yeah, Suo's like, oh, aren't you cute, you pathetic little runt. And
then Nire gets picked for some reason.
Nire is about to get picked, and then the second in command, Joe, I believe his name was, he's like, oh hey, you, Two-Tone, you were talking some hot shit, weren't you? Well, I mean, we can't have our fight right here. With the sun setting, you won't be able to see your boss's beaten up face. Are you talking about your own face? What, do you need me to get a mirror for you? That is the worst comeback to an insult I've ever heard. But you know what? I'll take you on.
Literally the I know you are, but what am I? But like,
the shittiest counter burn ever. But Sakura is rendered with so much detail like it's supposed to be this massive hit. So everyone agrees tomorrow we're going to go on a group fight. I mean date. And
then the manga remembers it hasn't actually introduced the fact that any of these characters have any type of interpersonal relationship. So they all go to the cafe together.
So yeah, they go to the cafe so that everyone can have dinner together and we can get more exposition about Konoha.
Yeah. And this is where we get the one scene that had me confused because it's basically Sakura sitting awkwardly as Boss Man is just like gushing over.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish I remembered any characters' names in anything we've
read.
Okay,
so here's the thing. Here's the thing about this, Matt. The thing about that is he is very clearly jealous that Bossman is gushing over
Kotoha.
I don't remember any of the character name either.
It's very clear, and I'm like, yes, no.
But the thing is, who is he jealous for?
That's exactly
they don't actually make it clear.
That's 100%. I'm just like, man, I wish. I guess I just assumed it must have been because of the Amu rice, and he blushed then too, but that could just be he's being accepted. And I'm like, okay, are they playing up he's got a crush on her, and he's just like, oh no, why is Boss so into her? Or is he so upset that Boss is so into her and not him? Because he's like, wait, is she your stupid girlfriend or something? And he's just like, ew, what? No, she's way better than a girlfriend. She's my sister. And I'm like, you should have done this on Sis Confidential.
God damn it.
God damn it. No.
Stop it.
At which point Kotoha promptly goes, we're not siblings.
We're not blood related.
We just grew up in the same orphanage. You gonna expound on that at all? It sounds like some important backstory. Maybe give some context for why you all are like this. No.
Nah, we're saving this for a later volume.
Why does he get to go to school and you get to work for a living?
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to explain that.
We're not even going to acknowledge that.
Wait, you're 16?
Oh yeah, this is when we find out she's 16, not 25.
Every main character is shocked. And, well, subverting the expectations, it's, I think it's actually, it's a little hard to tell. I think it's Shark Guy that throws the chair. It's like, shut up, don't talk about her age.
Oh, I thought it was her throwing the chair.
It's hard to tell.
Somebody throws a chair for the comments.
And Hiragi's like, don't talk about her age. Why? Because she'll get mad? No, because the boss will get mad because he dotes on her.
And then this is the point where he sort of, as an aside, by the way, this is why I told you not to mention the getting held hostage thing.
Because the boss would absolutely lose his shit if she was held at knife point.
Yes, this makes sense. We're not going to bring it up anymore.
And then I'm like,
okay.
I'm going to be completely honest. Nothing in what we read indicates he would have gotten that mad about it. He'd just be like, well, better deal with this.
They hint that he's capable of incredible violence, which, like, I understand. He basically wrangled this entire sector of the gang wars under his control through charisma and Bauer.
Yeah, but I don't know that they've done the pull the rug under me for too many times at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like, hey, this guy's super threatening. He's actually very nice. This person will never accept you. They accept you right away.
Yeah, would Kotoha being threatened be his moment where he snaps and enters this roaring rampage of revenge, where he just goes and commits incredible violence? Or would he continue to be super professional about it?
The bit version would be like he tracks down the person who held her at knife point, grabs them by the shirt, and drags them to therapy so they can better themselves. Like,
bold of you to assume the manga wouldn't just do the classic internet response of, I simply wouldn't be in that situation. She wouldn't be held at knife point.
We also get some hints that Shishitorin wasn't always what they are.
Ridiculously saccharine?
No, that's Bofurin. That's ridiculously saccharine.
Shishitorin wasn't as bad as it is currently.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the new leader's recent upstart is what's happening.
It seemed that they had a genuine belief in meritocracy without this level of bloodthirsty cutthroatness that results in them excommunicating members who get kicked in the face once.
Yeah, but they have to be cartoonishly evil. Otherwise, Sakura would be joining them.
Yeah.
Because that's literally his worldview.
Yeah, they have to be cartoonishly evil hypocrites, or else the main character would switch sides halfway through. Which, in all honesty, could be interesting.
Yeah.
It's not going to do that.
Look, I have one hope for a really interesting plot turn that I'll talk about in the predictions at the end.
Yeah.
And it sort of revolves around that.
But on that note, they do kind of just party away the night, and they got to get up early tomorrow to go into enemy territory for a tournament fight, I guess. So I think that was a good enough time to take a break as any.
Indeed. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to the show, folks, where last we left our... it's not even a bit at this point. They're actually just heroes. There's nothing else about it. I can't make a joke. They're just heroes.
Sakura wishes they weren't, but also is really all about it.
Yeah. They had all been prepped and ready to go for their group date. I mean fight.
Yeah, where they're being escorted through Shishitoran territory to a lovely day at the theater. And by theater, we mean the abandoned theater, where their gang's hideout is, because they're theater kids.
The abandoned theater, which had once been called Orion Theater, but all of the characters had worn off except for the character for Ori, which becomes another pun because it means cage. And it's now a place where a whole bunch of wild animals thrash about in bloody violence, red in tooth and claw. And it's like, this is clearly what Sakura thought Furin was going to be. Because it's just a bunch of dudes all screaming for violence, slamming against the walls like, yeah! Come on, get him! And
I'm like, ooh, man, cool. What an interesting location. I wonder what kind of set design they're going to do for these fights. I sure hope they don't just put them on a stage with a blank background.
It's just a stage with a blank background. Sometimes the background's a little torn. Sometimes there's some graffiti, but it's just a stage.
Sometimes they show the fight from the other angle so you can see the audience watching from the stands. But, yep. Because the tournament arc is happening in the auditorium, essentially.
Yeah, of course.
Where everyone just kind of like nicely takes their seats, and then they call the fighters individually up one at a time to walk up on stage. Well, I guess two at a time, but you know what I mean.
Because the only fight here that really matters is Umemiya versus Choji, but everybody else got beef, so everybody else going first.
Well, yeah, you don't just throw the headliners on first. You gotta build excitement.
Exactly.
They literally say that out loud.
And so we open up with Sugishita versus Side Cut. Nobody cares.
This fight should not matter less. Like
fight. It's generous that you call it a fight.
He's literally a jobber. The only reason I remember this guy's name is because it's in the title of the chapter.
Well, Sam, objectively, you're wrong, because jobbers are supposed to lose entertainingly.
Yeah, so this guy, Side Cut, he's like, oh, wait, you're here to protect your boyfriend, Mr. Umemiya? Oh, you think you're so cool? Hey, whoa, Umemiya, look out! And then when Sugishita goes to look, he punches him in the face because, whoa, we play dirty here. But he forgot the san at the end of the name. So Sugishita was unaffected by this blow as his righteous chivalric fury to protect Umemiya's honor gave him invincibility. He then grabs the other man by the face, slams his head into the stage, and boom, fight's over. I win. GG's. Nori, you suck. Next one.
Yeah, so when he goes into rage mode, he gets iframes, and then he got the critical hit.
I don't know, but it says that it literally took until now for me to notice that his body posture is always hunchbacked like a gorilla. Like, I only just noticed that. Is that me being stupid, or...
I didn't
really notice it either.
I'm not even sure it's a thing, because it doesn't really fit the rest of his personality, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish I knew more about these characters who are in this tournament arc. Is kind of my main... My main complaint about this entire section is it's a tournament arc about characters I don't really know that well, so... Also, the first fight is literally a joke, and then someone's knocked out. So cool. Like,
I think with like, this is supposed to be the opportunity to start to learn more about them by actually, giving us some fights. Except Tsukishita's a one-note character. He loves Umamiya and he wants to protect him. And like, that's literally it. We get a bit more of something interesting with the next fight, which is Suo, who is fighting Nerves McGee.
I love one of the moments in this where it's actually at the end of the fight, but another case where it's like the really good fight panels, like they might not flow excellently together, but there are plenty of cases where at the very least, like the individual panels are amazing. Because one thing that I immediately noticed just from two panels, like the first punch is thrown and like he takes this like very like kung fu movie-esque stance, and I'm like, is that Bagua? And then there's a shot of his footwork. Oh my god, that's Bagua. He knows Bagua.
Yeah, this one was a lot more fun. Also because Suo is he's the hyper competent character that is, I know, is hit or miss for a lot of people. He kind of hit for me. His whole thing is he takes Nerves McGee, I don't remember his name, but his whole thing is that he's like this sniveling coward who's always chewing at his cuticles, but he's like, yeah, go get him, guys. I'm totally part of the crew. I'm gonna hype up my boys. And he's like, hey, you sniveling coward. Have you ever considered what it means to actually like be an adult, be cool? Do you have a concept of that? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna kick your ass. And then he just, Bagua, Tai Chi, MMA.
He clowns on him is essentially what's happening, to the point that like Sakura is just like, wow, this I kind of hate him. He's just picking on the weak, because he's not picking up what the entire thing he's doing is. He's like, I'm teaching him manners and like how to be respectable. But his definition of respectable, like, it's not like he's a gentleman, but like he's like, no, you need to learn respect and not whatever this is.
Yeah, being a good person, fundamentally.
Yeah, the ultimate point of the lesson, I think, is supposed to be, hey, you know the humiliation and pain you're feeling right now? I wonder how that felt for the guy that you were beating out of yesterday because he lost one fight. That sucks, doesn't it? Think about it. And then he gets the beat out of him and kicked out of the gang because
not even completely the beat out of him. What happens is they call the fight midway through, because it's like, yeah, we kicked him out of the gang, so you're no longer fighting someone. Like, he's no longer part of the competition. Oh, toss him off the side of the balcony. What? Oh. And I'm just like, yeah, man, what a great gang where your entire leadership is just removed.
It's weird. I know that they're trying to play it off with the whole thing about Umamiya's comment with, oh yeah, Shishitorin wasn't always this way. I wonder what's changed. Well, what's changed appears to be that they they've drank their own Kool-Aid so hard that they are willing to just
make actively stupid decisions.
Yeah.
I think it's mainly the new leader has drank the Kool-Aid and also missed the point of a lot of it, and is kind of like, no, the strong survive, and I'm the strongest, so I'm surviving, and kind of like everything else is inconsequential.
So with the two warm-up fights done, we are now going into
the thing I mentioned before about Suo that I thought was really funny when someone asks him, what martial art is that? I have no idea. Yeah, buddy, you introduce yourself as Leonardo DiCaprio. You know exactly what you're doing. You literally can't even learn Bagua unless you've mastered several other martial arts.
I mean, he is just a humble dude. Humbleness.
My master was self-taught. It's just some weird MMA.
Yeah, he is lying, and I love it.
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it.
You just don't understand. You don't understand.
Indeed. But now that we've got the 2 warm-up fights out of the way, it's time for our first main event, which is not Sakura. God, Sakura really wants to be a part of this. He wants to get in there so bad. Guys, seriously, I am rock hard. Nope, Sharktooth got to get in there first because he has to reconcile with his ex-boyfriend.
The whole time I was reading this, I started off saying that sarcastically, where it's like, oh, ex-boyfriend, got it. And the more I read, the more I'm like, no, it actually is that, isn't it?
It starts off as this like, oh no, it was just us against the world, and I followed him because he was strong. And then it just turned into like, hey, I have to break up with my high school girlfriend because I'm going to college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did. Like at the very end, too. I'm going to be there. I'm going to support you. You're going to be so great. And he's like, actually, I'm good.
Different life paths.
I love how this flashback gives us almost no information about Sharktooth guy. It's entirely the ex-boyfriend. And I'm like, cool. I'm glad I'm learning about these characters.
Yeah, because it's Hiragi and Sako is his name, the ex-boyfriend. They are going to square off. And Hiragi's all like, man, long time no see. You still haven't learned to speak up for yourself. Joining and he's doing this whole like spiel, this pre-fight monologue for the boss battle. 2 of them go to fight, and we get some pretty good coordination as they're starting to scrap. And Hiragi blocks 1 kick to the head. And now the fight is truly on as he is a threat. Yeah, the thing that Jake mentioned where it's like, oh, ex-boyfriends. Yeah, no, that's totally what it is.
They inject flashbacks into, and this is actually sort of the case where you can really start to notice that it's really more individual dynamic action shots, because any place where paneling would have to flow, one trick that gets used is, well, there's where the flashback goes in the sort of in-betweener bits. Again, it's effective for what it's trying to do, but it's not exactly a fight manga is the thing, even though it's kind of pretending it is right now.
It's definitely dedicating a lot of time to a tournament arc for not being a fight manga.
Yeah, it's odd.
I do like the moment where Hiragi gets kicked in the head and thrown into a wall, and it's like, okay, we've seen these guys pull off some pretty impressive moves, but they still seem to fundamentally just be guys, and just guys will go down to a kick to the head. That's kind of what the human body does.
Like a full body flying kick to the head you don't normally get up from.
You get your bells rung and you're out cold. Best bet.
I know, guys, they're just going down over anything.
Well, these ones anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, these ones are fighting to go down.
But as Hiragi is kind of slumped against the wall, it's Sakura that stands up and is screaming at him like, hey, shark teeth, don't go looking like a bitch in front of all these guys. You're making us look bad. Stupid dog. And naturally, he's embarrassed about showing so much passion, blah, 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 the bit that we've been doing this whole time. But that was all a feint as Hiragi stands up and continues the fight. And we learn that the heavenly king that he represents is the god of war.
And there's a whole thing about it's like because Sakura was so fired up, it reinvigorated him.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, if this guy is the god of war, what are the other 3 gonna be to like be increasingly hype?
Well, they got to be less hype because they didn't come to the tournament, right?
But no, the point is that it's positive masculinity, the manga, so
the god of war is actually the worst one.
The god of war is the worst one because he's violent.
He has anxiety and he's got tummy troubles. And he doesn't understand that Sakura invigorated him with the power of loving his friends, because Suo has a whole speech about like, you finally learned how to open up to your friends. Look, Sakura, and I'm just like, you've known these people for a day. This is not earned. Where is this speech coming from?
Look, God gives his worst tummy aches to his strongest girlies, and Hiragi proves to be the strongest girly. as he goes blow for blow against Sako, the two of them just slamming their meat into each other's faces.
Guys, just once. Really?
That's what's going on, though.
It is. I never knew that the human body could feel so good.
Could be so warm.
Even when it's used for violence. It can still be used for love.
But we get Sako's flashback where his entire thing is that he and Hiragi went to the same middle school. Hiragi was cool and strong. He was wimpy and weak. And he's like, I'm going to follow you forever, Aniki. And Hiragi's like, hey, actually, I've decided that I'm not going to be a final boss. I'm going to be a lackey for another final boss. So I can't be what you want me to be. Go find your own way.
Hey, I found a guy I'm willing to bottom for. I can't be your top any longer.
Matt, you keep complaining and then you say that. And you're right.
It's what the story is.
I know.
This is literally the plot of this manga. I'm so confused what it's doing.
You just succinctly described it.
This is the gayest, not explicitly gay thing I've ever read. And I've read Blue Lock.
Do not bring Blue Lock into this.
Blue Lock at least pretends it's about soccer.
It's done nothing wrong to you. I will not stand for this.
We did it, folks. We found a manga gayer than Blue Lock.
Also, to be fair, Blue Lock's all about toxic masculinity, and I'm there for it.
The point being, Sako never got over that breakup, so he decided to just become the strongest dude and pound the most guys until he was stronger than Hiragi.
I'm going to be the most powerful power bottom you've ever met.
Yeah,
Wait, Hiragi, why are you still stronger than me despite bottoming to that guy?
Anyway, let's move on. He wins his fight, but then doesn't want to claim the victory because he's like, I don't want you to throw him away. Wait until the end of this tournament to decide. And I'm like, I can't tell if they're doing points or if they're doing exhibition matches, which it makes sense for either way. But if you're doing points, what he's doing is saying, don't count this as a win so we can sit on 2 wins out of 5. But then that's too much game theory. And this manga clearly doesn't care about that. So that's not what's happening. It's just me desperately trying to make sense of things. Anyway, we get teased about Sakura's fight, but we had to pick an ending spot somewhere, and I breezed through checking to where this fight ends. It ends 6 chapters later. So we cut here. The very beginning.
Yeah, it's like 2 punches are thrown to establish that, oh, wow, this guy's a real threat.
And I know what you're thinking, Jacob. Based on the other fights, you'd be like, so the fight's half over, right?
Yeah. This is actually gonna be a pretty epic brawl.
I thought so too. I'm like, oh man, why don't we just finish this fight? Oh, well.
Now I know why. Now I know why we're stopping here.
Yeah. The point being that Joe is only using 10% of his real speed, and Sakura's gonna have to try or something. I don't know. Either way, thus brings us to the end of our reading.
Too soon. It was just starting to heat up.
I sure was. Favorite character and favorite fight. Look, I can't lie. I'm a simple man. I like Sakura. I like cats. He's a cat. He wants to be spiky, but he is actually just soft, and that's great. I like it. As for favorite fight, I think it's got to be Hiragi versus Sako, because that's the one that actually the most felt like a fight and actually kind of drew me in.
See that?
And even then, it does kind of show that an actual panel to panel fight scene isn't the mangaka's strong suit, but I wouldn't call it so bad to be a weakness. And
especially in that case, because it leverages the fact that it needs to give the backstory flashbacks to cover over that weakness in a good way.
Exactly. So, yeah, Sakura, favorite character. Hiraki versus Sako is my favorite fight. Jacob, how about you?
Favorite character, probably Umamiya. I don't know. I found something amusing about the moment where it was first introduced to him, and they set it up like he already knows about the plot going on, and I'm like, oh, he's going to talk about the plants, and he talks about the plant. I liked that. I vibed with that moment. It's one of those ones where it's like it's so predictable, but it's like predictable in a fun and amusing way.
Guys, we don't have enough seed. Whip out your cocks.
I mean, whoa, I was not going to go all the way there. I was just going to say he can tend to my garden, but whatever.
Okay, wait a minute. That's not better.
It's more tasteful.
Is it?
I don't think it is. It's
Objectively.
no.
Continue. Who's next?
Anyway, favorite fight. I'm 100% gonna go with Sao's fight because I like Bagua. I watched all of the DVD extras on Avatar: The Last Airbender box set, so I know what Bagua is.
So, to the surprise of no one, Jacob is a huge nerd.
Yes.
Shame him. Shame him.
I accept this shame graciously.
Okay. Jay, favorite character and favorite fight.
Okay, so you're all wrong. Best character is Suo. And favorite fight. Favorite fight. I would have to go for this one was a little hard.
I'd say they were all a little hard.
Yes. Yeah. Darn it. I'm trying to find his name.
My man must have been a great character.
No. The initial encounter between Sakura and Sugishita.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I loved the bromance that was going on, like major simpness, just trying to gatekeep Sakura from being part of the club. It was just so weirdly simpy. I don't know why, but I just loved their like initial clash. Because they were both cute little puppies.
You want to get physical with my boyfriend? Only I can get physical with my boyfriend.
I know!
And it's almost like someone took Deku and Bakugo and just removed the subtext and just
Yes.
they removed
And just made it text.
They're also my favorite couple.
They removed the superpowers and the subtext.
Yes.
So now they're just gay humans.
And Matt, favorite character, favorite fight.
Oh my god, I don't. there were characters in this. I kind of
There were caricatures.
yeah. When I thought this was a comedy manga, I liked that a lot better. So yeah, I guess I'll go with Nire because I like that like gimmick character. I did say he was the most annoying part of this for me now, so I'm kind of regretting picking him. But I liked his initial chapter with the clothing, and he's got some fun bits later on where he's just like, I'm really out of my depth. Why am I even here? I don't know, bud. That's a good question. Well,
didn't you say you were here to learn how to fight? So watch the violence. I don't wanna.
Yeah, and I gotta echo Jay with my favorite fight being Sugishita and Sakura when they first are in the fight, because that's got some great comedy beats of everyone just watching, going like, "Hey, maybe we should be friendly," and then it ends so weirdly. I can't.
The gayest handshake in all of manga.
Yeah, was just saying something.
That grip strength.
It's not even about the grip strength. The grip strength is completely not. That's what makes it so weird. Is they explicitly state they both have incredible grip strength, but that's not what that's about. They're just holding each other's hands for some reason.
Oh, prolonged eye contact.
Yes.
But
if it was to assert dominance, it wouldn't be weird.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not competitive. They explicitly say it's not a furthering of the competition. It's just them both holding hands, unsure of what to do with human touch.
Dude,
so lewd.
That's the equivalent of yelling no homo.
Okay, I want every
Our balls aren't touching.
all the homies need to kiss each other.
Look, If Umamiya unironically said, now all the homies need to kiss each other goodnight, I'd buy it.
Furin 100% kisses them like their classmates goodnight. They 100% go around going like, time for Betty, bye. Mouth kiss, mouth kiss, mouth kiss.
Yes.
You know you're not supposed to kiss everyone on the mouth like that. But I love them so much.
Anyway. Predictions for the plot. This
Plot,
is
plot, 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 plot.
plot. This is the one, because like, okay, I had a lot of fun with this, but I will admit that it's exceedingly, it is water thin on the plot. I think that like the most interesting thing that could happen is that Umamiya continues down his trajectory of being a Kamina clone, in that he is so charismatic, so lovable, so powerful that he's just gotta die horribly. He's gotta go out in the most brutal yet still somehow heroic way imaginable, and it's gotta be this nadir for everybody else after. There's got to be Tsukishita like broken down. There's got to be everybody else. Like it's got to expose the cracks in the entire organization as the people who were pretending to be like good boys following the rules now fighting for the table scraps of authority. I'm thinking, and it's gonna be because something's gonna happen to Kodaha and he's gonna lose it, and it's gonna make him go into a situation he can't get out of, and he's gonna get murked. And I don't know if the manga actually has the balls to do that.
I was going to say, you're giving this a lot of credit.
Sam, you have described a completely different manga. Like,
I see, but that's the thing that makes sense to me as a storyteller, but I don't think the manga has the balls for it.
Sam, I get where you're coming from with that. I'm kind of going to go with the thing of like, I don't know how to make a prediction from here because nothing's happened so far.
Mm-hmm.
They've introduced a setting and then kind of weirdly found themselves in the middle of a tournament arc that, even though it's a tournament arc, has no stakes. So I don't even know how this manga would raise stakes.
Yeah,
because
so
a gang war isn't doing it.
So the thing for me is, prediction wise, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so like the big thing that I can't help but notice is you have a setup for a 5-on-5, like a 5-member 1-on-1 like team fight kind of thing. So like they say only the final match matters, but like it's set up so like two of them, like two of the main characters lose, two of the main characters win, so like the final point goes to the leaders, right? Like that's how it's built. They've swept so far. And in all honesty, I don't see them having Sakura lose this fight because the dude is just such a heel. Like, you have to beat him up. And like, even if Sakura loses, it's still, 3-1 at that point. Again, it's not like going by points, but like the way that these sort of tournament arcs are normally shaped within a shonen narrative, it's just not doing that. So it's like, where does the manga even go from here? Because the thing I can't help but notice is nobody really needs to do any character development. Even Sakura isn't really, like, he doesn't really need to grow because he's already got his bit of like, his act is that he doesn't like being wholesome, but he's actually totally on board with it. He doesn't need to learn. He doesn't need to grow.
Yeah,
he's already integrated into the group.
Sakura says he has character development, and it's almost like every character is aware of his internal monologue. It's like, nope, you're perfectly good as is, buddy.
Yeah. So what does this manga even do at this point? And my immediate thought is it's not setting out to like concern the audience of whether or not they're going to make it out of it. It's not building, it's not a character driven narrative. There's just going to be a bunch of other gangs that they work their way through over time that get tougher and tougher. And I didn't even think of the video game analogy, but it's like, it's a video game. They're going to go through the bosses that are going to get progressively harder and they're going to level up over time. That's what this is set up to do. Yeah.
I mean,
that's where they're going with this, because that kind of explains why it's weird and not particular, because it's not preoccupied with narrative. It's not preoccupied with character. It's just setting up set pieces.
Yeah, that's kind of where I feel like it's probably going to go, which is a shame because I think it's better suited to be like a weird slice of life in this weird world they've developed. And then they drop this like tournament arc on me. I'm like, oh wait, is this trying to be a battle shonen?
They could have their cake and eat it too by having, because it's like it's a tournament arc, so the fighting that's all happening is happening in a cloister. So like they have their fighty bits and then they have their slice of life bits, and you could have a big chunk of just slice of life shenanigans, and it's like, oh, they're at the fighty bits, okay, skip. Okay, back to the slice of life that I'm here for, or vice versa. I don't know that it's doing that because we're only part of the way through the tournament arc, but like that's kind of how it's constructed.
Which, I mean, I hate to say it, it's also kind of a problem that we're into volume 3 and we don't know what this manga's about.
Yeah. No, that's worth noting as well.
Yeah,
because this is a situation where we've read a lot and nothing has happened.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's enjoyable, nothing, but it's still like, what is the like? I mean, the next question is do we continue reading? And I don't really have a strong answer.
It'd be fine that we're in volume 3 and nothing has really happened if it was a slice of life, but it's putting on so many airs that it isn't.
Also, half of it's been a tournament arc, so to call it a slice of life is kind of...
Yeah, it's a little bit disingenuous just for the amount of time it's spent.
Yeah.
I think my best answer for would you continue reading is there's a lot of stuff I liked about this, but there's been next to nothing that's gripped me. So,
and we all know it's really important just how something needs to grip you. And you
nice,
need to feel
strong,
the warmth,
firm grip.
You need to feel the warmth of a human body gripping you.
The point being, while I did enjoy my time with this, I don't think I would intentionally come back. I wouldn't argue with another episode on the podcast, but also we've got other stuff that we can come back to that I would be more excited for. So,
name one.
Kill 6 billion demons.
Damn it.
That makes one of us.
That was too easy of a question.
Look, we are getting so close to the Demiurge fight, guys.
Yeah, I do regret cutting that last book in half. We really shouldn't have done that.
We are about to be in the Fishing Dave arc.
Speaking of stories that you have no idea what the hell is going on or what the point is.
Listen. Getting back to the actual reason why we're here, I would not continue reading on my own volition. Matt, how about you?
No, I would not continue reading this. There's a lot of characters and I cared about none of them. And I think that's the direction this is going, in having a bunch of characters. And I mean, the flashback...
Pick the husbando you like.
Yeah, and I'm like, the flashback we had, which was supposed to give us information about like one of the main characters, didn't tell us anything about him. It taught us about his boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And inherently made like his reasons for doing what he did vague. And I'm like, okay. But I don't know anything about this character yet, so you've kind of just built mystery on top of mystery. Yeah, I did not get anything out of this reading. So
how about,
it is a no for me.
How about you, Jacob? Would you continue reading?
Well, problem the first, I am very much not the target demo. Problem the second, one of my favorite things in all of fiction, the reason why I get so intense about fiction and all that stuff is almost entirely because of characters. A plot line can be bad, but if it has compelling characters, I'll forgive it. And I barely vibed with a joke from one of the characters. There's not a lot to go on there, and it doesn't really seem to care about that sort of thing. I didn't hate my time with it, so basically echoing Sam's opinion, I wouldn't read it on my own. If we get outcry from the our listeners that they want to hear us talk about it more. You know, maybe it does something that would be cool. But I would not read it on my own.
Man, if this turns out to be one of those manga where people are like, no, the first 5 volumes are really bad, but once you get to volume 6, that's where it really takes off. And I'm like, you've described a bad manga.
That is a writing mistake.
All right. And Jay, which husbando is going to keep you reading?
Of course. Suo for sure. As for would I continue reading, this might shock a few. But I don't think it necessarily
You're already
rises
4
to
volumes
the occasion. What?
You're already 4 volumes in.
Shh. I don't think this quite rises to the occasion of being in my pretty boy rotation that I currently have.
No,
I have high standards.
Damn.
Also, because there are other manga that are just explicitly pretty boys.
True. But I would not be opposed, as the rest of my co-hosts, of if we got enough outcry. I guess I will crack this one open, you know?
You'll suffer through.
I'll suffer through.
Guys, if there are passionate Windbreaker fans, I will be surprised.
Either way, thus brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you everyone for tuning into the Over Manga Cast. As always, you can find us on all of your social medias where we are at Over Manga Cast.
You can also find us on YouTube where you can like, comment, and subscribe. The episodes go up there on a 2-week delay, so if you want to catch up on our up-to-date stuff, you can head over to overmangacast.com. That also has a section where you can leave comments on individual episodes. Send us recommendations. Passionate fans of Windbreakers, tell us how much we need to do a part 2.
And as always, we appreciate reviews in any and all forums. Go ahead, drop us a 5-star, because we're worth it, you know? And, keep us going with whatever we're going to read next week, which, Sam, what is that?
Well, next week we're going to be reading Garuden, chapters 1 through 23.
That almost sounds like you read that for the first time right now.
Indeed. If you're keeping up with the show, then read that, and we'll see you all next Thursday. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Oh my God, finally they're all gone. So, guys, when we saw their abs during the fight, wasn't that to die for?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
It was great. I loved it. This was delicious.
Oh my God. You're picking my language right now. I love it.